chairs skill education, and our other officers who have joined in from the CBSE Department of Skill Education. A warm welcome to all of you. And again, we are really, really happy to have with us a team from NSDC who would be taking us through this onboarding process. And we have with us Mr. Saurabh Mishra. He is the Senior Manager, IT and Digital. Along with it, we have Mr. Karthik, who is also Manager, Government Programs. And these are our panelists who would be with us throughout this 1 hour session. As you all know, that National Education Policy 2020 of India has emphasized the need for promoting skill development in schools. The Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has been implementing PMKVY since 2015 to create industry ready workforce and enhance employability skills. So, PMKVY targets school dropouts, out of school children, unemployed youths, and we all know a lot of efforts have been made into making this scheme really robust and get going. In the year 2021, CBSE has introduced and implemented skill hubs in a few selected schools, and now we are in the process of implementing PMKVY 4.0, which has been announced by the Government of India. And CBSE has already issued a circular, which is circular number 122, dated 11th October. I'm sure most of you must have, or I think all of you must have gone through it by now. Today, in the same process, we are here with the CBSE and NSDC team to take you through the implementation guidelines, prerequisites of the onboarding on Skill India portal, financial provisions, assessment, and other modalities. So we'll definitely have a question and answer session also later on. So please be ready with your questions. Please be there with us. And thank you so much for being here in such a big number. We would like to request uh, Mr. R.P. Singh, our Joint Secretary, to just put in an introductory remark, and then we'll have the presenters who will take us through this entire journey. Thank you so much. Over to you, R.P. sir.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This scheme is an extension of the basic setup of the school to service the community. And we hope that once you are through with the NSDC session, you will have a lot of questions. And so we'll take the questions toward the end. We have around more than 1,006 participants who joined in. So most of them are also getting the message that they can't join in. So I would request that please be available till the end of the meeting so that we can take the question answers toward the end. And now I'll hand it over back to Niti. As you can see, we are working on one laptop and moving from here and there because we are also not able to join in. Thank you.
This is an interim scheme which is being conducted. So it is under the Skill Hub initiative, which is a sub scheme of PMKVY, where we intend to utilize the already established institutions like colleges, uh, colleges, schools, JNV, JSS have already been part of this initiative, and we intend to bring them on board under this initiative to start participating under the scheme and start implementing skill training courses on NCVT approved job roles. So, like you can see in the screen, the PMKVY 4/22-26 envisages short-term training and recognition of prior learning of 1.45 crore candidates in the next 3 years. Under the scheme, the candidates are provided with free skilling courses to enhance their employability. The target beneficiaries will remain between 15 to 45 age of group, and for RPL it is 18 to 59. But for CBSE schools, it is basically STT, which is short-term training. So we will be focusing only on short-term training during this presentation. So methods of training, it's full-time classroom training, as these are basically skill-based courses. So it is intended that all the training should be happening on ground. And one of the important criteria for monitoring the training of the candidates is Aadhaar-enabled biometric attendance system, which is a part of the scheme, which I will be elaborating in the next slides. So the training duration lies between 200 to 600 hours for STT. So it will depend upon the job role that you will be choosing, based on the lab infrastructure, the infrastructure that you may have. You may choose job roles from a variety of 400 plus job roles, which have already been approved by the National Council for Vocational Education and Training, which is NCVET. So you can choose those job roles. The list of job roles can be accessed through a link that we will be sharing with you through this presentation as well. So, like I said, under this initiative, we already have government private training centers, PMKKs, JSS, KVs, uh, EMRS, Sainik schools, all participating under this scheme. So, we also intend that CBSE schools also come on board and start implementing this initiative through their institutions as well. So NSQF level of training. So we have NSQF levels ranging in from level 3 to level 7 under this initiative. So the next part would be, what are the prerequisites that a training center should have in order to start implementing the Skill Hub initiative in your respective institutions. So first of all, like I said, advocate infrastructure. You should have the required classroom and lab requirement has been specified in a particular qualification pack that you have chosen. For, let's say, example, you intend to impart training in a domestic data entry operator job role. So you should have the requisite lab infrastructure, computer labs at your training center to deliver training for that job role. Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system, like I said before, it is one of the major criteria through which we at NSGC and Ministry monitors the training that is happening on ground. So all the institutions would be required to purchase and procure Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system. All they can required to mark their attendance in time as well as out time basis the schedule of the batch you have submitted on the Skill India portal. So about the Skill India portal, I'll also be covering in the next half of the session. So I know you will be having doubts on how the batch is created and everything. So that we'll be covering in the later on. So trainers, yeah, second thing would be trainers. You should have a trainer who is capable enough to take to impart training for the job role that you have chosen. So you may use your own institution's trainer with having the necessary domain expertise, the domain experience to impart the training for the opted job role. Or else you may also choose trainers from the list of certified job roles which are already available. A pool of trainers are already available on the Skill India digital platform. You may also contact them and get them on board to impart training. But preferably, we prefer that you start imparting training through your own the trainers who are available. Other prerequisites will be mobilization of candidates. Principals may use the services of dedicated resource for mobilization of candidates. Target group of training and skill hubs will be 40-60 and out school. So this is basically 40-60 is basically taking an example that your institution has been allocated a target of 100 for suppose, and 60% of the candidates, 60% of the candidates should be outside from the school, which have been mobilized from outside, which can be school dropouts, college dropouts who have not been able to complete their education, and who are like out of the education system. They can be given this opportunity. 40% of the candidates can be from your in-school candidates who are already pursuing some kind of a course at your schools. If they are interested and if they fall in the eligibility criteria that has been prescribed in a qualification pack, those candidates can be enrolled in this program. But only thing that you need to ensure that it should not go beyond 40% of the target that has been sanctioned by NSDC to you for participating in this program. OJT. So some of the job roles from this 400 plus job roles also include on the job training as a mandate. So, if you choose that kind of a job role, it is institute's responsibility to arrange establishments and necessary tie-ups to offer on-the-job training to the candidates. You should make prerequisite arrangements with the employers or the industry where the candidates can go for the on-the-job training and complete their training for the recommended hours that is required for the job roles. So that is necessary to be. So school will be responsible to mobilize the candidates Notice data dropout students may also be used. Support from district skill committees headed by district collectors, district magistrate, panchayats may be taken to mobilize the candidates from outside. So assessment and certification. Once you complete your training life cycle of a batch, the Skill India portal automatically assigns the batch to a sector skill council, which is an awarding body to conduct the assessment of the candidates. Who has been The sector skill councils are recognized by the National Council for Vocational Education and Training. So they will be assigning an assessment agency, which is again approved by NCVT to conduct the assessments. They will be conducting the assessment on the date as chosen by an institute. Uh, will conduct the assessment. The results will also get uploaded on the Skill India portal online, and you will have the visibility to check their marks and download their certificates as well through the portal as well. So the complete life cycle of training happens online. So I will be taking you through it. I'm just covering the prerequisite part so that you are aware what we are going to show you through what is a Skill India Digital looks like. Skill hubs will be exempted from the affiliation and accreditation process. However, they will be required to register on the Skill India digital platform. Details of available classroom and everything would be required. So this will be covering on the onboarding process. Next, next is the implementation modalities. What will be the process flow? What are the steps that would be required to be taken to start implementing before we start implementing the project? So first point is show interest on the Clapia form. So this is the basic form where we will capture your request, we will gather your request and collect the information basis your institute's information, as well as which kind of what kind of an infrastructure that you have and which job role you are showing interest to impart training into. So basically we will be collecting the information through these forms where you can show your interest that, for example, my institute has the capacity to train candidates in domestic data entry operator job role or some other beauty sectors course, and we have the necessary lab and infrastructure, and we have the capacity to train at least 240 number or 240 candidates till March 2023. So you can request those targets by filling up this Clapia form. So the link is available here. So we will be sharing this presentation after this session. So you may access this link and show your interest by just filling up a simple form that I'll just explain in the next slide. Second part would be the target allocation. As soon as we receive your request through this Clapia form, our target allocation team, our PMU team will analyze your request, basis which we will be allocating a sanction letter saying that you have been allocated this many numbers to impart training under this. Post which we will start facilitating your TPID and TCID creation. So these things would be a bit new for you, but these are basically a login ID similar to what a Gmail account looks like. So every training institute will be having a trainer provider ID who has been sanctioned letter. We will be facilitating you with a TPID, which is a training provider ID, and secondly there would be a TCID, which is a training center ID. So these two IDs will be necessary for all the institutes to start implementing the project. So TPID and TPID we basically cover the details of the training institute. We capture the bank details for payment transfer as well, and as well as the PAN details of the institute to recognize the identity of a training provider, which is a training institute basically. Training center ID creation is necessary where will give you the access to create batches online, enroll the candidates inside a batch, and submit your batches to NSDC as well as the awarding body to conduct training and the assessment process. So these two IDs are separate that we will be covering in the next session as well. So this needs to be kept on mind that all the institutions will be given a TPID and TCID for this. Fourth step would be trainer registration on the Skill India digital portal. So the trainers who will be imparting training are required to register themselves on the Skill India digital portal. It's similar to create a Gmail profile where we will be capturing uh, 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 like basic information from the trainer, such as what is the experience, what are the qualifications, etc. And those details need to be registered for the creation of a trainer ID, a unique trainer ID for a particular trainer. So all these things are also Aadhaar linked. So all the candidates, trainers need to have a specific Aadhaar number, as well as a mobile number linked with Aadhaar. So that is necessary for the identification and of the trainers as well as the candidates as well. Batch creation at training center, like I said, so we will be providing with you the TCID credentials, post target allocation, through which you will be able to create batches, and the entire life cycle of the batch can be managed through. Candidates registration through eKYC process, which is a mandatory process. All the candidates need to have a valid Aadhaar card. Candidates, here I mean with the students, all the candidates should have a valid Aadhaar card, as well as they also need to have their mobile numbers linked with the Aadhaar number in order to participate under this program. Accepting candidates' request for training, final acceptance of candidates to enroll in a batch. So all these things happen through the Skill India digital portal, where the candidates have a particular login where they can show their interest that they intend to participate, to enroll in a training program that has been launched by the institute. So I will be showcasing that in the next stage as well. Enrollment of candidates, batch submission, these are like operational processes. Next thing would be that attendance monitoring. Like I said, attendance will be monitored through Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system that all the institutes need to install at the training premises. And it is a mandatory requirement under the scheme that all the candidates need to achieve 70% of the total training duration, 70% attendance of the total training duration, in order to become eligible to appear for an assessment. So 70% attendance is mandatory through ABAS. Assessment and certification of candidates. Once the candidates achieve their 70% attendance, whoever achieves 70% attendance will be allowed to appear for the assessment, and the assessment will be carried out by the Sector Skill Council. Update bank details on SID. So, like I said, on your TPID, you will be required to update your bank details. So, as this is a payment milestone based scheme, where we will be disbursing the amount basis the milestone that you achieve in three tranches, basically 30%, 30% on enrollment, 30% on the mid training of the program, and 40% after you complete the training program. So that I'll explain in the later half. Initiate tranches on SID and fund disbursement. So these are the basic things, basic key checkpoints that all the training institutes need to remember and need to monitor all the time basis when you start a training on Skill India digital portal. So I'll start with the operational modalities. What are how the pages looks like, and how you can start with the project. So, like I said, the first part would be you need to show your interest on the Clapia form. The link is provided in the presentation. The form looks like this. This is a look and feel on how the form looks like. So, it will ask you for the basic details such as the state, district, institution type, institution name, the single point of contact, who will be the point of contact, their name, email ID, number, institution's head, landline number, photo ID proof, bank account number, bank account. So these are basically for verification of the institute's details that have been put into. And in the next page of this Clapia form, you will have the provision to choose the job role and the number of targets that you intend to take from NSDC for imparting training under the scheme. So once you have been allocated targets by NSDC, you will be getting a sanction letter to the respective email ID that you have shared through the Clapia form. You will be getting an official sanction letter from NSDC saying that you have been allowed to participate under the scheme, and this many numbers have been allocated. So post which our operations team will start getting in touch with you. We will be handholding you through the entire process, which will start with the TPID creation. The TPID creation, here we capture basic details such as your PAN details, organization type, organization name, single point of contact, heads of organization. So basic form looks like what is shown in your screen. So you will have to fill the scheme and model such as PM KY Skill Hub, and just submit your request here. So your TP ID gets generated, as you can see on your screen. On the top right, you can see a TP ID, which is of nomenclature TP, and there would be 7 digits number. So this is a unique ID which gets created for all the institute who register themselves as a training provider as an institute on the Skill India digital portal. So once we get your request for participation in this TPID form, we will be sharing the status of your accreditation. So once our NSDC PMU team will go through your application and will, if everything is in line, you may we will be according a deemed ready status on SIP, which will further enable you for TCID creation for batch submissions as well. So for TCID creation as well, our team will further get in touch with you where we will be facilitating your TCID creation. So TCID creation is necessary for you to start your batch creation life cycle here. The TCID basically gives you an access where you will be able to create a batch. So for example, let's take an example where an institute intends to start a batch starting from 1st of November on a particular job role such as domestic data entry operator. So you will have that option where you can create a batch, select the job role, select the start date and the end date of the batch, select appoint a trainer for this particular appoint a trainer for that particular batch, and float that batch's information on Skill India digital portal by submitting the batch on SID. So this particular batch so yeah So before that, I'll just show you how a TC dashboard looks like. So yeah, once we give you a TC ID, so when you log into a TC ID, so this is how a TC ID dashboard looks like. So you'll have an access to everything here. If you just see the my schemes in the top right top manner, which will give you an access to all the schemes, which is basically you will be able to see the skill hub initiative scheme under this login where you will be able to create your patches. So third point is trainer ID creation. Like I said, you can get your trainers registered on this particular link that we have provided in the presentation. So the trainer can click on this link, put in their basic details such as name, Aadhaar number, mobile number, their qualification, experience, etc., so that a trainer ID gets registered. So for a creation of batch, a trainer ID is necessary because during the creation of a batch, we need a trainer ID to link into that particular batch. So that is why a trainer ID registration would be the first step before you start creating a batch. So let's take an example. You have completed your trainer registration process. So for creating a batch, you would be required to click on My Schemes and then click on View Schemes card as it is visible on your screen. Then you will have these three cards available on your screen where you will be able to see where you will have the option to check the view all job roles, view trainers, and view all batches. So you need to click on view all batches here. Click on view all batches. Then after this, you will be moved on to the next screen where it will show you an option to create a batch on the top right hand corner. Create a batch. Click on create batch. So this page will let you will give you this particular page will give you an access to choose the job role in which you intend to create the batch for, the number of hours of training you intend to do in a particular day. For example, you can select training hours per day starting in the range from between 2 to 8 hours, anything between 2 to 8 hours. So you need to select the training hours per day as well. Also, you would be required to select uh, the trainer who will be imparting training for this particular batch. So like I said, you have already registered your trainer in step 3. So after registering your trainer, you will have a trainer ID with you, so you can search the trainer ID through the drop down menu and link that particular trainer with this particular batch. So these options will be there while you will be creating your batches on SID. So after you create this batch and submit this batch on the SID portal, so this particular batch floats on the Skill India digital portal, and this particular batch will be visible to all the candidates who are interested in participating under this initiative. So this basically, this information gets projected on the Skill India digital portal, where the candidates can themselves log in and show their interest. So I'll show how it looks like basically. So for that, it is very much necessary for you as a training center to create an batch and submit your batch so that this visibility goes to all the candidates. So the next step for candidates enrollment in this particular batch would be they would be required to log in and create a profile on the Skill India digital portal. So the web link to Skill India digital portal is available on the screen. When you can just type on www.skillindiadigital.gov.in. You can also try for yourself. So during the first time registration, the candidate would be required to enter their mobile number. Uh, and an OTP will get generated, and they'll also be required to enter their Aadhaar number for verification. So this is an eKYC process where we check the Aadhaar, whether the Aadhaar number is valid, and whether the mobile number is linked with the Aadhaar number or not, and this gets verified through the UIDAI server. So once a candidate completes his eKYC process, so the candidate will have the access to this particular dashboard, which is available on your screen. So this dashboard will give them option to participate under PMKY4. They will also have the option to go through various online content that is already available for download. They can access the PDF documents of the content that is already available, videos as well. Okay, so to participate under this PMKY4, the candidates will be required to click on PMKY 4.0, which is available on your screen. They need to select short-term training under Skill Hub, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, short-term training under Skill Hub. They need to search for this particular card and click on apply. Select the sector. For example, I'm taking an example that a particular institute has launched a batch which they claim to start from the 1st of November in the IT/ITS sector under the domestic data entry operator job role. So the candidate would be required to select IT/ITS sector from here, from this drop down, and then select the job role of data entry operator. So when the candidate clicks on this particular job role, so he or she will have a complete list of training centers who are offering this type of a course in the coming month. So as you can see on your screen, we have yeah, the candidate had selected beauty sector skill council and a particular job role. So as it is visible on your screen, there are two training centers who are starting two batches starting from 17th of July 2023. So this option will enable the candidate to choose in which batch he or she wants to enroll himself or herself to. So that is why, as an institute, in the previous step, it is necessary that you, as a training center, create a batch and submit your batches on Skill India portal, so that the candidates who are willing to participate under the scheme have this option to choose your batches, choose the batch under your institute, and show their interest. So the candidate would be required to show their interest here, and then the SID will ask for basic details such as full name, gender, religion, family details, and etc. And the submission, they can submit their request. Again, when the candidates, so for you as a TC to know which are the candidates who have shown their interest for my particular batches. So under your TC ID, you will have this section called View and Manage Candidate section and Candidate Interest, where you can click this section, and you will have a full list of candidates who have particularly shown interest in this particular course that you have submitted. You can select those candidates one by one based on the interest that they might have also come to your institute and have shown your interest. You can select those candidates, click them, and approve their request here. After approving your request, the final acceptance will go to the candidate's login, where the candidate would be required to accept the request that has been approved by the training center. So once you approve that we are willing to enroll you as a candidate in our batch, the candidate will have the last choice to accept whether he is willing to undergo training at your training center or not. So the candidate would be required to accept. If he is willing to undergo the training, he will click on accept, and the candidate will get enrolled in the particular batch. So like this, when you complete this particular step for all the candidates who have shown interest, so the enrolled candidates list will look like this as it is visible on your screen. You will have a complete list of enrolled candidates saying the 30 candidates who have shown their interest will be visible on your dashboard. So mind you, when you create a batch, the minimum batch size that is allowed in this particular scheme is 15. Like only 15 candidate, minimum 15 candidates should be there in a particular batch before you start before you start with the training. The maximum batch limit is 30. You cannot enroll more than 30 candidates inside a batch. So taking an example of maximum batches, like it is visible on your screen, all the candidates who have accepted the training request will be visible on your screen. Post which you will have the option to mark the candidate, categorize the candidates as in school and out school. Like I said in my previous slides, under the scheme we have a mandate that we cannot enroll more than 40% of your own institute's candidates. So you need to maintain that while enrolling candidates into the batches. So this option will give you the section to categorize the candidates as in school or out school. So after all the candidates have been enrolled, you need to click on each candidate one by one and update their in school and out school categorization here by clicking on the action button, and you will have the button to update the in school or out school. And then you can submit the batch to AB. So on the top left hand corner, you will be able to see a button which is written as submit to AB. So submit to AB is basically awarding body. So this particular step is very much important. When you it is important that you click on submit to AB in order to start your trainings. Only then your batch information flows to NSDC. Only then your batch information will flow to the respective awarding body, and then they will be aligning their assessment accordingly based on the information that you have provided. So submit to AB is one another key point that every institute will. So we will be hand holding you with this procedure again as well. So don't worry on that. So this is a basic operational process, basic online process that everyone would be required to do when you start implementing the project on the Skill India portal. So everything is online. You can track everything through your TCID logins, and the entire candidate's life cycle, training life cycle, gets managed through the Skill India digital portal. So next thing is training life cycle on SIP. When your training commences as per the dates that you have mentioned, like for example we have said that a training institute has submitted a batch starting from 1st of November. So next thing for an institute would be to keep marking the attendance of the candidates on the Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance device that you have captured. So our team will be facilitating you with the ABAS onboarding process as well. So do not worry on that. Only thing is you need to procure an ABAS device at your institute and start marking the attendance basis the timing that you had mentioned for a batch. For let's example, you have said that you are starting the batch from 1st of November, starting at 9 a.m. and the training is ending at 12 p.m. So you need to ensure that you start marking the attendance of all the candidates starting at 9 a.m. And as the batch is ending at 12 p.m., we also need to ensure that all the candidates punch out before leaving the classroom in order to take that candidate as present for that particular training. Okay. So each candidate, like the last point said, each candidate should attain 70% of the total hours of training within the batch end date to become eligible to appear for assessment. So let's take an example. So if you have taken a course which is of 300 hours of duration, so we will be monitoring who is that the candidates need to attain 200 and at least 210 hours of training, 210 hours of training in order to become eligible to appear for assessment. So that is important, so that we calculate basis the in time and out time being marked by each candidate between the training period. So that is an important aspect that you as an institute need to ensure while you are imparting training at your training centers. So next is financial provision. So the average cost that we have calculated, basically the costing depends upon the job role that you opt for imparting training. It will depend upon the number of training hours that you have opted. So it is basically calculated on the cat base cost norms that has been decided, common norms that has been decided by the government of India. So the basic average cost comes at around 10,041 rupees per candidate for a 300 hours course, out of which 8,366 will be paid to schools having skill ups, and remaining will go to the assessment agency. Insurance premium as well. Also, there is an insurance component under the scheme which the candidates who qualify the assessment will also be covered through an insurance of 3 lakhs, and they will be getting this through their a particular insurance card which gets generated on the SID on their particular portal once they complete their training life cycle. ABAS transactional fee, induction kit, etc. So all this cost is including all of this. So assessment training head certificate assessment and certification cost is of rupees 600, which the institution need not to pay. Everything will be paid through NSDC through the to the awarding body. So you should not shouldn't you are not need to worry on this. Induction kit will also be provided to candidates when it is provisioned under the scheme. Accidental insurance of 1 year to the candidates will be provided once they complete uh, their training life cycle. Once they complete their assessment and qualify the assessment, ABAS transactional fees and mobile tracking allowance is also included in this particular cost. So, like I said before, these tranches, these cost components tranche have been divided into 3 milestones, which we call as tranches. Tranche 1, tranche 2, tranche 3. Tranche 1 is of 30%, tranche 2 is again of 30%, and tranche 3 would be of 40%. So the first tranche gets released to a training institute on achievement of T1 ABAS compliance. So T1 ABAS compliance is nothing but uh, within the first 20 days of a commencement of training, we will check whether you are marking the attendance on ABAS or not. The training institute must ensure that the 70% of the batch size 70% of the batch size has marked attendance within the first 20 days of commencement of training. Only then your tranche 1 will get triggered. We will initiate the tranche 1 30% of the total cost disbursement only after your T1 compliance. T2 tranche 2 would be 30% of the total cost would be released again when you complete in the mid course of the training. For example, if you have chosen 300 hours of training, so we will be dispersing this after you complete 150 hours of training, but it will also depend upon the number of candidates who have achieved 70% attendance on ABAS. The rest is the 40%. Rest of the 40% of the total cost will be released on the certification of the candidates. So basically, you will be also be intended to coordinate with the sector skill council and get the candidates assessed and their results to be declared. So once their results get declared on the Skill India digital portal, you will automatically have the provision to raise tranche 3 through your SIP. So everything is automated and online. Only thing is you need to, as soon as you achieve your milestones, you would be required to raise your invoice on SID just by clicking under the payment section. You have to click a simple button where you need to raise your invoices by clicking on raise invoice for T1, raise invoice for T2, and raise invoice for T3, and click on verify. So that is a simple online process that you will be required to do. So these will be the Spock persons from our team who will be contacting you for further support as soon as the target allocation happens. Okay, so that's it from my side. In case you have any questions related to whatever was shown during the presentation, you may please ask. I will be happy to answer to your questions. Over to you, ma'am.
Dr. Vishwajit Sahu, who's the Director Skill Education at CBSE, and I would just request him to put in a few words. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all the eminent representative from NSDC. my colleague at CBSE, and of course, all the participant school leader, teachers who have joined us virtually. It is really a great occasion to announce this PMKBI 4.0 as government has kind enough to extend this skilling momentum at school level. So my humble request to school leader that kindly go through the guidelines of PMKVY, and I'm really thankful to NSDC for giving an exhaustive presentation how school can onboard into the portal. And of course, through our CBSE circular, we have already notified certain key area which are relevant, and also by utilizing the existing infrastructures, schools can comfortably offer such courses. And the rest in related to assessment and related to the curriculum and content, the respective links are also very much notified in our circular. तो मैं सबको रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा आप लोग इसको कृपया और एक बार देख लीजिए. If there is any doubt, you can directly come back to us. You can directly contact NSDC because certain contact numbers or email also we have shared. How you can onboard the school as early as possible. I know Dashera and other vacation momentum is going on, but the इस टाइप का अनुदान आपको इस टाइप का फंड आपको मिलेगा. कार्तिक जी ने अच्छा खासा एक्सप्लेन कर दिया है. फिर भी डॉक्यूमेंट में हो सकता है हड़बड़ी में अगर कोई चीज हम लोगों से छूट गया है, यू कैन गो द डॉक्यूमेंट एंड स्कीम इन डिटेल. फर्दर 2 दिन 5 दिन ऑन जब प्रोसेस ऑनगोइंग होगा, आपका मन में भी और कुछ शंका भी आ सकते हैं, क्वेश्चन भी आ सकता है, तो वो हमसे कृपया चर्चा कर लीजिए सो दैट डाउट फ्री वे में हम लोग इस प्रोजेक्ट्स को इंप्लीमेंट कर पाए. डेटा रिलेटेड इश्यूज स्किल इंडिया डिजिटल में आपको जाना है. बिसाइड्स पीएमकेवीवाई, लेट मी आल्सो टेल यू देयर आर different kind of courseware are available in Skill India digital portal. I know Saurav is eagerly waiting to spell that. So you can encourage your existing student to go through that course. जो जिसको पसंद है. This is not only emerging areas of technology. Different kind of skilling courses are available. So for the existing CBSE affiliated schools में जो student ongoing स्टूडेंट है 6 से 12वीं तक का, उनको तो आप एनकरेज कीजिए स्किल इंडिया डिजिटल में जो कोर्स है उसका साथ साथ एकेडमिक एक्टिविटीज स्कूल में करते करते इन लेजर टाइम एट होम एट स्कूल दे कैन टेक अप सच कोर्स. पैरेलली अंडर पीएमकेवीवाई फ्रॉम 9 to 12 का जो बच्चे हैं वो स्कूल टाइम में और इवनिंग टाइम में जो आपको सूट करते हैं, जो बच्चों को सूट करते हैं, बिकॉज लोकल मैनेजमेंट स्कूल को करना है. हम यहां से आपको कुछ गाइडलाइंस, कुछ प्रेक्षापट बना के बोल सकते हैं, बट एक्चुअल इंप्लीमेंटेशन स्कूल लीडर लोकल कंडीशंस को सूट करते हुए यू आर सपोज टू डिजाइन, you are supposed to implement and execute. So you are completely free to do that as per your wisdom. We are not going to interfere. The process-centric protocol need to be followed. जैसे PMKBA 4.0 में attendance is a big criteria. तो जब भी आपका स्कूल ट्रेनिंग सेंटर के माफिक अंतर्भुक्त होगा हमारा स्किल इंडिया डिजिटल पोर्टल में, then you have to ensure that biometric based attendance are being taken. इससे क्या होगा, आपको जब भी आप अटेंडेंस लोगे उस स्किल इंडिया डिजिटल्स में वो रिफ्लेक्ट होगा. अल्टीमेटली जो अटेंडेंस लिंक फंड रियम्बर्समेंट है, सो आपको आगे चल के कोई परेशानी नहीं होगा. तो आउट ऑफ, आई नो वी हैव सीन ह्यूज इंटरेस्ट फ्रॉम द स्कूल Although WebEx capacity is only 1000 for us, but we are getting requests and many of our school leaders are not able to join. So the recording of today's proceeding would be available in our YouTube channel, CBSE YouTube channel, जो skill के लिए है, उसको आप leisure time में देख लीजिएगा. And जो those who have joined us virtually today, जो connected है, उनको मैं एक तीसरा रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगा, आप अपना नेबरहुड में इस मैसेज को सर्कुलेट कीजिए. आउट ऑफ दिस एन नंबर ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन, होपफुली 200 स्कूल्स को फंडिंग के लिए एनएसडीसी एंड स्किल मिनिस्ट्री को रिकमेंड करेंगे. बाकी स्कूल्स बेस्ड ऑन द अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ द रिसोर्स, लेट द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट डिसाइड ऑन दैट मैटर. प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के लिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज दिस इज फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम ministry has agreed to fund the private school also. For the government schools, the pool is open. पिछले साल PMKVY 3.0 में भी था, अभी भी है. तो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल जो स्टेट रन स्कूल है हमारा, उनको भी रिक्वेस्ट है, आप कृपया look into the website of Skill India and try to register school first, and accordingly, you also mobilize and try to utilize your existing infrastructure for skill development of your school student and also for the dropouts and other students available in the neighborhood community. So with this, let me thanks NSDC, Ministry of Skill Development, our Ministry of Education for thinking for the youth of this country. And I think through these PMKY projects, we can really aim for a better India and skill India. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. Thank you for these wonderful words. And as we had promised that we'll be taking up some of the queries. As of now, there are a few common queries that are coming up on the chat, and I'll just take them one by one. One very regular comment that has come in is that kindly clarify. I think it's Saurabh sir is also here with us, and Karthik. I think you all will be able to make it clear. They say that the registration of the candidates, should we do it on our own? That means the candidate has to register on their own, or should the school take the onus of taking this activity forward? So how would the portal entertain this sort of a thing?
So ma'am, candidate need to register of themselves. So if you allow me, then I can show you the process also quickly, so that even it will be clear for the...
Saurabh, you can show it later. PMKY related questions you take first, and then you can allow Saurabh to give some snapshot of the site so that individual student can register.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So for student also, I will like to again clarify, sir. For PMKVY also, student individually need to come and register on the Skill India digital portal, and then they need to apply for the course or the batch which is being by different schools what they have created.
I think it would be complicated, Saurabh, because if let the student come to the school and school help to register them, because we don't know the geography and the ability. Of course, we are in digital India. Many students, many dropouts are well versed with a good number of digital technology. But even then, just for authentications and all, let the individual, whoever is aiming to have a course under PMKVY 4.0, let them visit the neighborhood schools. Those are being selected as a skill hub, and there let the skill hub nodal officers take the initiative to register them to the Skill India portal. Otherwise, student register and then linking up, we don't know whether they are going to somebody is apprising, and there are a lot of neighborhood other skill development center also approved by NSDC. So, for school shape, we may think of this is my suggestion that let the school, if a batch of 30 students once they identify, at one go, let them register and also request for batch creation.
I think this is what he's saying makes sense because there are a lot of people on the chat who are putting this very query that if the student is not from the school, and that too, I think as of now, what your presentation says and what the minute says that 40% has to be the in-house school students and 60% it's mandatory to have it from outside. So the 60% mandatory, student strength, it would not be feasible for any school to work it out. They have to really get it.
Another point, because I have already discussed these issues internally with a good number of school leaders. In fact, yesterday also, I got opportunity to interact with few school principals. So they have raised this issue because safety concern is also one of the big issue. So they are not very much interested to create a joint batch. So it is advisable for internal school student, let them have a flexibility to create their own batch, and also for the outsider, because outsider we can't ensure that same age group. So it is always heterogeneous population coming from diversified backgrounds are coming. And directly allowing them to mix with the student, the many parents and many other school leader has objected that issue. So I think NSDC can look into this perspective. So batch creation from our side, based on the feedback we have taken from the school leader from Delhi and NCR and other part of the country also. So it is advisable to create separate batch for existing student. A batch would be handled. Even all, it could be in the first hour or post school hour. That flexibility, whatever school decides, we are okay with that.
Yes, sir, that can be done.
60%, whatever 40-60 ratio, here we are talking about 100-100. So all 100% ratio from the school, and 60% that also termed as a 100% separate batch would be created. So maybe portal may must have that provision to create. So even if it is 30 students, maybe 20 from outside, but 10 from internal. So in such case, let the system allow the school to have two batch, one batch consisting of 10 students, another batch consisting of 20. Unified way, school can register a single batch of 30. So that provision we need to create so that separately they can manage the flow of internal student and also for the community outreach. If wherever more students are there, we encourage that there should be a batch of 30 from the school and 30 from outside. Then I think it would be more healthy. So we are not discussing, but in certain pockets of the country, this kind of typical situations school may face, which we have seen in case of our PMKB 3.0 experience. So based on that experience, I am putting this agenda before NSDC and Skill Ministry to resolve and keeping a solution pathway so that school should not face any problem later on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what you told is absolutely correct. That is possible with the current system as well. So I'm just taking an example that institute has been allocated 300 target for suppose. So the 40% would be how much?
120.
120. So 120. Let's take 4 batches, 30 candidates. So you are eligible to create 4 batches of only in-school candidates as well. So the 40-60 split is basically of the entire target that you receive. So that is possible, sir.
Fine. Absolutely fine. Any other questions, Niti?
One or two.
Take at least through the forum. If we resolve this, then similarly when they will be in YouTube channel, I think at least for their query, then it would be justified.
One more question that is coming. So you want to take? One more question that has come in is from Dr. Rashmi and Shruti Nanda. They say that they are facing issues when they are registering. So, is there any possibility that there is any agency or there is any cluster agency which can help them where they can approach to assist them into the registration process?
Okay. I think this would be a genuine problem from the side of the school.
Okay.
I must urge that some nodal agency or nodal persons with multiple contact number and multiple email ID or single email ID, multiple contact number and email ID, whatever email they receive from our schools, CBSE affiliated schools, that should be resolved on priority so that they get reply in within a day or maximum within 48 hours. Any things you like to comment, Karthik?
Yeah. I'll just respond to this. So the registration basically they are facing in TP registration or candidate registration. Is there any specification that they have?
Okay, I think they have not specified, but it could be initially, as we are still in the initial phase, so it could be related to TP only.
Okay, so I'll tell you, sir, what the mechanism NSDC follows. So as soon as the target allocation happens, like I had shown in the screen, the institute is required to fill in the CLAPIA form. Then they will be getting a sanction letter saying that you have been allocated targets. A single point of contact from our NSDC team will start approaching you from the day so there would be a SPOC from NSDC who will be dealing with the institutes regularly and will be taking up their queries through these regular meetings, webinar as well. And for that as well, for technical issues as well, we have a dedicated team which will be supporting you through the entire process.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think
That will be taken care of from our side. Yeah.
fine.
Right. Thank you so much. And another question is, I think that is also a very important question, is how this financial implications would be worked out, because you've already detailed out in one of your slides that now the principals and the stakeholders want to know that, like suppose there is a very small thing, that is 30%, 30% and 40%. 40% is for your certification, or once the kids complete that. They say in case somebody is not able to clear the training or whatever, or have dropped mid down. So what would happen to that sort of thing, and what is the mode? Like suppose they I think 10,000 something is the money that is allocated per candidate. Then if 8,000 something is given to the school, then how would that would look into for buying the equipments or the induction kit, or suppose if the induction kit has to be provided by NSDC, or these are the things which are really necessary before they really take up the skill hub project in the schools.
Yes. So for skill hubs, the entire cost that we are providing includes everything. Basically, your establishment of lab and everything that but training requires. So everything is included in this particular cost. In skill hubs, necessarily because there is no requirement for establishment of a new lab as such, because we are in trusting that you already have a particular lab infrastructure set up in your training center. So we are basically considering that you will be opting for for a job role in which you are already having kind of a setup. So there would be no requirement of as such of established. Only thing would be that raw materials would be purchased, and that kind of a stuff would be required for imparting training, that we understand. So basically the advanced amount, that is the 30% amount, is basically transferred to training centers after T1 compliance, only for that basis, so that you have necessary funds to at least initiate your trainings. So the question was, if in case candidates do not qualify the assessment for a particular batch, if let's say all the candidates do not qualify the assessment, so the entire amount that was initially paid to you would get recovered from the next tranches or next batch, basically. So that is the recovery mechanism that which NSDC takes monitors. If in case candidates do not qualify, we check whether the next ongoing batches or next target is available with you. So the finance team will be recovering any additional amount that was paid earlier would get recovered from the the next batches or the next any other.
I think I got your point, Karthi, because the calculations and other things were meticulously done, keeping in mind that the entire batch would succeed.
Yes, we need
Uh,
to
but
candidates.
reality is maybe something else, or if everything goes in an ideal condition, I believe every schools will try to graduate their skill pass out in a manner so that
Yes,
they
yes.
can at least claim that fund. But if accidentally something happened, but even then, the training and other cost pertaining to that batch is really happened. Only thing is, even for the assessment, because both assessment only one can claim he is pass or fail. So including the assessment cost are being aligned. So in such case, the recovery issue, I will request to review that so that school should not face any problem while especially special recovery from the second batch or something else. Maybe it can be relooked in that way. It's a genuine query, and this query also administratively we have seen while we are discussing on that rate and other agenda in ministry also. No problem. But let me request the school as such. Certain thing you keep in mind because that uh, as per the scheme of the PMKBY 4, the release of fund would be there. So the ministry would strictly adhere the protocol, whatever protocol they have designed so far. So there may not be any compromise on that. So I strongly urge the school, you just follow the rule and accordingly ये आपको टाइम टू टाइम रिएम्बर्समेंट मिलते रहेंगे और उसके लिए आप मेंटली भी तैयार रहिए क्योंकि अदरवाइज putting a clumsy question near before you and also before starting the project mentally पहले क्लियर हो जाइए इस फेज में पैसा आएगा तब तक हम इनको आपका जो ट्रेनर होगा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए कार्तिक हैज राइटली मेंशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अदर देन बायोमेट्रिक मशीन एंड और अदर जो कंज्यूमेबल्स कोर्स के लिए लगेगा उसका भी ना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए इस ट्रेनिंग फीस में नहीं है However, if private school management or government state-run schools, if more enthusiastically, if they like to, yeah, there is a good potential, and they like to create a special lab with a hope that there is a ongoing fund. Suppose, as Kartik has said, if a school is getting a target of 300, so that means a good number of at least 10 batch you can run parallelly. So the fund flow from the side of the ministry is quite comprehensive, and there would be some savings for the school, which you can definitely aim for reinvesting or investing for the purpose of creating a fresh infrastructure. But it is advisable at the initial stage you try to utilize the existing infrastructure so that existing infrastructure anyway you are utilizing for the school, but as in second half largely वो आइडियल रहता है तो उसको आप किस तरह से यूटिलाइज कर सकते हो उस दिशा में प्लीज फोकस करिए then आपका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर यूज केस ऑल्सो इट कुड क्रिएट ए हिस्ट्री फॉर द कंट्री मैक्सिमम एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट इन द कंट्री 2 बजे या 4 बजे का बाद लॉक लगा हुआ रहता है और सीसीटीवी सर्विलेंस में रहता है और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहे गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएटिव में हो चाहे इंडिविजुअल इनिशिएटिव में हो चाहे ग्रुप इनिशिएटिव में हो मल्टीपल थाउजेंड्स करोड़ का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पड़ा हुआ है तो मेरा हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है आप लोगों को उसको प्रगति का दिशा में उसको रिस्किलिंग का दिशा में और जनरेटिंग एम्प्लॉयमेंट इन द नेबरहुड आपका सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का हिसाब से प्लीज आगे आइए
Just we take a last quick question.
Yeah.
One question, the last question, and that is they want to ask whether this scheme is applicable for schools which are located in the foreign land like UAE and others. And बहुत सारे लोगों ने ये question put up किया. So I think it's very important to get a clarity on that.
Yes. And And let me also supplement this question, because today morning, while before coming to this session, I thought of this question will come, and I'm happy that these questions came. And largely, all Indian schools abroad, uh, generally in the Middle East countries and other countries, including other countries, Singapore and Malaysia. तो इस सारे में जो हमारा इंडियन स्कूल है, जो सीबीएसई एफिलिएटेड है, they are largely catering the requirement of Indian diaspora. And it happens that वहाँ पे काफी लोग जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट पर्पस के लिए माइग्रेट हुआ है, उनका बच्चा भी वहाँ पे पढ़ते हैं, और उनमें से भी कुछ कुछ जो लोग ऑलरेडी स्कूल पास आउट है, उनको एम्प्लॉयमेंट के लिए आइदर उस देशों में जहां पे वो रह रहे हैं, और काफी सारे लोग कुछ वर्ष बाद भारत देश में भी वापस भी आ रहे हैं और दूसरा तीसरे देशों में भी जा रहे हैं. तो दिस इज ए इंटरेस्टिंग सिनेरियो. आई थिंक NSDC, while answering this question, please keep in mind that Indian diaspora के लिए ही है. तो maybe we can try for few school from abroad can be funded, because there is a special committee of India and Dubai, some skill enhancement committee is there. Similarly, for Kuwait, also it is there. Qatar is also there. So I think that India and other nations' skill development mission can take care of this issue, and maybe if funding can be given. Otherwise, also many enthusiastic schools are very much active, and they are doing pretty good job. Even unparalleled work they are doing from our affiliated schools placed in Oman, placed in Middle East, Dubai, UAE, and other countries. तो phenomenal काम कर रहे हैं. तो उनको भी अगर किसी तरह हम हेल्प कर पाएंगे, तो वो भी एक अच्छा प्रयास होगा. तो ओवर टू कार्तिक.
Yeah, sir. Currently, under PMKY is only for Indian nationals and for only is implemented in being
Indian geography. Okay.
and the Indian geography only. So this
You can
matter
flag this issue. You
can
can
be
flag
taken
this
up
issue.
with the ministry, sir. I totally accept your point. This needs to be taken at the ministry level. But though
Fine.
currently the scheme focuses only on Indian nationals on only in Indian region as of now, because the training accreditation, center accreditation and affiliation process and the geo tagging and everything only happens for
I
the
can
Indian
understand. I
states
can
and
understand.
districts only.
Let them
So,
do.
yeah.
Funding is other parameter. We are not discouraging them, because they are very much working for Indian national only. But
Yes.
funding issues, as you have rightly clarified, that certain scheme is not allowing. On a chargeable model, the school can carry out, as we did in case of PMKY 3.2. So, assessment, ले लो, question ले लो.
My next question, I think we have already, overshooted the time limit of an hour, but a lot of queries, and that's good. Just one last, and then we'll just have a thank you note and, wrap up the session. What are the assessment modalities for these courses? I think this is very crucial and very important, and the certification. So
Right,
you can
right,
just quickly put on that.
Yeah. So see, it will again depend upon the job role that has been opted by the institute. So every sector has its own type of modality of conducting the assessment. Agriculture will have different, IT will have different, construction sector will have a different. So the basic modality, what the common thing about these assessments would be, an assessment agency will be sending a certified assessor for that particular job role at the training center, who will be conducting a theory session. Theory questions will be taken up, a practical would be conducted, and a viva would be taken up. So, in order to have a clear visibility of what type of questions and what kind of what is the assessment criteria is all about, all the qualification packs that you choose at the last pages, if you see, it has a assessment criteria section mentioned there. It is where it is briefly clarified at what kind of a section encompasses how many marks. So the marks allocation, theory, viva, everything has been given under a qualification track. Assessment criteria is already mentioned at the last pages of a qualification pack. So you can all the institutes can go through the whichever qualification pack that you're interested into. Just download its qualification pack, go through the assessment criteria, so you'll have a basic understanding what type of questions and what is to be taught to the candidates. Other than that, when you choose a qualification pack on the NSDC's website, you'll also have a download link to download the model curriculum for that particular job role as well. So you will also have a visibility on what is to be taught to the candidates, and interlinking both the things, you will have a basic understanding of what kind of an assessment, how does the assessment happens. So basically, the assessment will include a theory session, will include viva, and will also include a practical at the training center. Yes.
Thank you so much. And I think I would just want our Joint Secretary, Mr. R.P. Singh sir, to just put in a thank you note, and we'll wrap up this session. Thank you, everyone, and over to you, sir, please.
Thank you. We had a very great session. A lot of queries were clarified. Even our queries that we had were clarified by Saurabh in the presentation and Karthik in the presentation, both the persons from NSTC. Thank you for joining in. A big thanks to all the principals and the teachers who joined in. We will be putting up this recording tomorrow on the CBSE Department of Skill Education YouTube channel, or the Skill Unit YouTube channel. It will be available there tomorrow onwards. You can go through that at your convenience and have a look at it. We'll also put up the link in the Skill Hub WhatsApp group that we have, in which this link was also put up. We hope that lots and lots of skill hubs will be open so that we can benefit the community in general and our school students also. Thank you so much, and we look forward to support from NSTC at every step, because this is something new that our schools are embarking on. We have also modified the affiliation bylaws, and the schools can open up a skill hub in their school, and the permission has been granted to all the schools. So they do not need to take separate permission for opening up a skill hub. They can open it up and just register themselves on the Skill India portal. Just send in information to us so that we also have a track and we know how many have onboarded. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best and happy Dashara in advance.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Same to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
We can end the meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.